Hello and welcome back. Before we get to part 2, Real Talk, please allow us to fulfill our capitalistic duty and plug our Patreon, the Contrarian Supplements.
That's right. For a small fee, you too can help the Contrarians rage on.
We have tiers ranging from just $1 to $10. It all depends on how much content you can handle.
Starting at $1, it's the Travolta's tier, which gets you access to new bonus episodes focusing on a new movie every month, as well as access to the patron chat. Join other patrons in making fun of our opinions.
Moving up to $3 is the Winoni's tier, which unlocks access to our pre-recording notes, our video reviews, and our spin-off show, Contrarians After Hours.
That's a more laid-back space where we talk about other things we've been watching, reading, playing, thinking about. Sometimes it's related to the movies being covered in the main feed, but it usually isn't.
If you want to be part of those patrons who help us shape the show by telling us which movies to tackle, that's when you sign up for the $5 tier, the Embries, and the $10, the Gads.
Finally, all supplement subscribers, regardless of the tier, get access to our archive of special patron projects. Head over to patreon.com/contrarianprime now to join.
Be sure to listen through the end of the episode to find out what's coming up to the Contrarian Supplements this month. Now, it's time for some Real Talk.
How old are you anyways?
5.
5? You wear a diaper?
No.
You wipe your own ass then?
Yes.
You do, good job. That's cool.
All right, Julio. Shirley Crabtree Jr. was born on November 14th of 1930. He would go on to be better known as Big Daddy. He was an English professional wrestler. Worked joint promotions, the original British Wrestling Federation. Initially appearing on television as a heel, he teamed with Giant Haystacks. After splitting with Haystacks, he became a fan favorite and the top star of joint promotions from the late 70s into the early 90s. Had to make this joke, much like with the Ricochet episode. Big Daddy looks like what a pro wrestler in an Adam Sandler movie would look like, so it's fitting. Shirley Crabtree was just a big fat dude who I've seen maybe 4 or 5 Big Daddy matches, and they are all very labored. But he was a fucking huge megastar in the world of British professional wrestling. He's one of those guys I told you about. Like he had some matches where like stores and shops closed early on Sunday, so everyone could get home to watch Big Daddy on the telly. And there was an interview with Liam Gallagher years ago when someone asked him who his favorite wrestler was, and it's like, "You strike me as a Stone Cold guy," and he said, "No, man, old school, Big Daddy." That was his guy. So
was he ever in any movies, or did he know his place?
I'm sure he would have been if he could have. I think he was supposed to be a real son of a bitch, but he's kind of an interesting footnote in wrestling history because he's someone that people always argue like, well, he couldn't wrestle. It's like, yeah, but he fucking drew a lot of money and like a lot of people watched him. So anyway, I felt it was fitting for me to do one of my jokes like that to start it off. But Big Daddy, 1999, summer hit. Dude, listen to this shit. It was Sandler's highest grossing domestic film until Hotel Transylvania 2 in 2015.
Are you surprised though? We can joke about it all we want, but I'm not going to say he cracked the formula because it's almost like it was already cracked. He just kind of like took it around with it, right? You appeal to both sides. You appeal to the, going to keep calling them beer guzzling college guys. And you appeal to the people that have a heart and want some feelings.
I mean, yeah, it's fair.
Like, you don't have to do it well. America has proven that they don't care for high art.
It debuted as number 1 at the box office. Julio, can you name me 2 other movies that would have been in the top 10 on June 25th, 1999? Top 10 box office.
June. Fuck. We just did The Matrix. I can't remember when it came out. I'm going to say The Matrix.
Matrix is number 10.
Oh, man. Scraping by. Sixth Sense?
There's a big one in front of you that you're missing, man.
South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Summer of 99.
The Mummy?
The Mummy is in there. So you got 2 already, but the big one you're missing out of. You even made a reference to
Star
it in
Wars.
the Contrarians. Yeah, there you go. Phantom Menace, which at that point had made $350 million. a movie that really started to shape what the Adam Sandler trend would become. I think it kind of already started with The Waterboy and whatnot, but I hate this movie. I really I despise this movie.
Is that the trend?
Well, because I stopped. Like I can tell you, I would hate. I walked out. Grown Ups. I was getting paid to screen, and I walked out of it. I never saw Jack and Jill. Not see Grown Ups 2. None of the other. And obviously, I love Adam Sandler. We can talk about Uncut Gems all fucking day. And he is funny. I do. I honestly, like, this time has gone by. I think I still am immediately going to be like, no, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison are awesome. But I feel like I always just in my head, I'm still 10 watching them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I'm just close to growing out of that and I see stuff, I remember thinking Big Daddy was funny when I was a kid, but I rewatched it as an adult and I was like, this is stupid. This makes no sense. Like, this is the Phantom Menace is more grounded in reality than this movie is. And
yeah, but you can watch a movie and enjoy it without it having to be grounded in reality, right?
No, I jest. There's just a lot of stuff about this that really annoys me. Hate's a strong word because I did laugh. Rob Schneider has some stuff that makes me laugh. That answering machine joke. I love here. I was reading a bit more of Ebert's review, and he described Adam Sandler's character as, quote, seriously disturbed.
I mean, that's almost every Adam Sandler character ever.
It's true, but it's an easy watch. I'll give it that. It's just a movie that makes me mad in how preposterous it is because it tries to kind of play off your emotions of, oh, what would that situation be like for you? It's like, well, that wouldn't happen because I wouldn't do something stupid like that. And then if I did, I wouldn't. How did he enroll him in school? How's Adam Sandler on the playground with these kids talking about drugs? How does he have access to these children?
Why does it matter? It's an Adam Sandler movie. I mean, wouldn't you have the same type of questions about the plot of Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore or any other Sandler movies?
Nope. No. I didn't finish my point there. Airheads is a legitimately great movie. Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore might just be, my child brain was washed, but anyway. It's so bad. Julio quotes.
Fresh quotes,
like
Alex.
This.
Fresh.
By the sound of your defense, you might like it too.
I'm not quoting Rotten Tomatoes though, so
okay.
We're not that legit. Unlike Rob Gonzalez from Rob's Movie Vault, who says another genial Sandler opus. An opus, Alex. That's how you know you've made it.
Fuck off. Yeah.
Julie Hines from the San Jose Mercury News says it's got the same kind of warmth as The Wedding Singer. Just trying to trigger you here.
Yeah, that. Let's move on.
Would you say it has the same kind of warmth as Click? Because I know that's another one you hate.
I despise Click. There you go. That one might be reserved for the phrase hate, because I was not expecting to laugh or chortle as many times as I did in this rewatch, and Click, I don't think I would crack a smile.
But Click has Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
working at a Bed Bath & Beyond. Man, Sandler is really just a genius at marketing. I just realized that. How much money did he get from BB&B compared to McDonald's and Hooters and who knows what else? I'm going to close with Chuck Rudolph from Matinee Magazine, who says, I wouldn't call it good, but I would surely call it a good time. It's a good time at the movies. Oh, well. I listened in preparation for this recording, Alex. I listened to our Mr. Deeds episode because, other than that, I don't think that we've ever talked about Sandler on a full episode. I know we talked about Uncut Gems, and I can't think of anything else. So that has to have been our big Adam Sandler conversation, and I wanted to see how it matched up with how I feel about Adam Sandler. At least 5 years later, because that was COVID times when we recorded that. That was the summer of Winona.
It was.
Yeah. That's why I had Click in my back pocket, because you're very vocal about how much you hate Click in that recording, that episode. And the one thing I texted you after you were texting me about how bad this movie was, how much you disliked it, I was like, oh, I'm excited to see Mr. Deeds being Elizabethtown on this episode. Because you were pretty negative on Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, it's not good. but it has John Turturro and this doesn't.
It
so
has
it has
fucking
that
Winona
over it.
Ryder in it too. Come on.
That also, yes.
Yeah, you accuse me of having blinders on because of how hot Winona Ryder is in that movie, and I replied, she's also very funny.
I'll be all right. I just feel a little dizzy and violated. I'm fine. Oh.
Yeah. That's like your opinion, man.
But you also pointed out that Mr. Deeds might have been the beginning of Adam Sandler's approach to making comedies, where he would get just a big name and then have that big name kind of be the novelty of his comedy. And then the rest of the roles were just filled out by his usual buddies, which I guess that was not the case yet, right? So Big Daddy is not one of those.
Like Big Daddy, I mean, it's not the formula, but it's still all his friends and stuff. And again, I'm pretty sure I called it out in the Mr. Deeds episode. These movies aren't for me, but that's still cool. It's the Rob Zombie thing of giving his friends work and stuff. You know, I like the idea that Sandler remembers the people that brung him to the dance or whatever expression you want to use, and still gives them work until they publicly make an ass of themselves, like Peter Dante. So
somehow Schneider hasn't crossed the line.
I would think so, but has he been kicked out of the Sandler verse yet?
I don't know. I haven't watched an Adam Sandler movie in a while. Like,
that's the whole point. I don't really care.
I mean, Happy Gilmore 2 is on Netflix as we speak.
And I'm good, man. I saw that it was 2 hours long, and I was like, nah. And then I read that it was 2.5 hours long initially, and they cut it down. Kelsey Plum has a cameo in it, which I appreciate that my friend smartened me up to. So maybe one day I'll track that scene down on YouTube, but I don't. I guess that's the point. It's I've already had this internal monologue, or not an external monologue, and like a struggle about Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer. I love Airheads. I think Airheads is incredible, as I mentioned earlier. But like those other movies, I guess it will always be a struggle of like, are they really good, or am I just overthinking it because they were like my movies? But I don't even like The Waterboy. Like I remember seeing that in the theater as a kid, and I laughed, and then I rewatched it as like, you know, a 20-year-old. I was like, this isn't that good. And yeah, Big Daddy, just not for me. And then
but you've recently rewatched Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah,
Bill Madison, right? Okay, so it's not just that there's a line, there's a moment where Adam Sandler just breaks with you, and is it just purely nostalgia that you were just much younger when you watched his early movies, and so
I think Wedding Singer's good. I think Wedding Singer's a good romantic comedy. You like it, don't you?
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know, because I mean, with Big Daddy, right? You didn't love it, but you liked it at some point, and then you watch it as an adult, and it doesn't work anymore. So, when was the last time you watched The Wedding Singer?
Oh, it's got to be the past few. That's a movie that anytime it's on, or if it's a rainy day or something, me and my sister comes across it on TV or streaming, we'll throw it on. So it's got to be in just the past few years. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never looked at it right, like where the dividing line of 1998 comes in, and I'm like, all right, no more for me. But Punch Drunk Love, obviously. Yeah, I'm just going down the list here, and
yeah, but these are not they're Sandler movies, but they're
no, I'm referring
Sandler.
to like, yeah, Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems, to a much lesser extent, Funny People. Those are the ones that like I have seen, and I applaud what he does, because the movies make money, and you know the general movie going public enjoys them. I remember that Hubie Halloween movie that came out during COVID. People were shitting their pants over it, and I was like, I'm good.
I mean, it was COVID, so
that's true.
Everybody was a little crazy.
I've never seen Spanglish. I own it, but I've never watched it.
It sucks. It sucks so much.
Okay. Roger that.
It's not Sandler's fault. It's so it's not, it doesn't suck in the way that, you know, the way that you would feel Happy Madison production would suck. It's a different kind of sucking. It's like, because it's fucking James L. Brooks directed that movie.
Yeah.
He did As Good as It Gets. Anyway, even that is not Sandler, like Happy Madison Sandler, because I think he's a chef in that movie, and he's playing it like a normal dude. A few after hours ago, I talked to you about the Jason Reitman movie. I think it's called Men, Women, and Children. Mm-hmm. That's also like serious Sandler. It's kind of like a dramedy, and you know, he has some funny moments, but he's still playing like a human being, right? He's not playing a cartoon like in these movies. But it's not that he's playing a cartoon that doesn't work for you, right? It's more just from everything you said in Contrarian's Corner and what you've said so far, I feel like it's the manipulation that's really bothering you. Is that right?
Yeah, it's one of those things of I don't care at any point. So I've talked about this before. We have talked about this ad nauseum. If you're like fine with what's happening in a movie, like the absurdity of the premise isn't really going to bother you. But I don't care about any of this at any point. So the just ludicrous nature of what's happening in the movie and how the social services system is just failed Julian. It just bothers me so much.
Did it though? He ended up in with the right guy.
But it's exactly what I was saying earlier. Like they have the Adam Sandler, there's not too much potty humor in this, but we have Adam Sandler talking about old balls and shit like that, so the dudes can laugh. And then this kid, obviously, they're the what was her name?
The Sprouses.
Sprouses. He was an adorable little kid. And yeah, they have him saying things like a kid would say, whittle iddle and stuff like that. So it was all very intentionally played to get dates. And you could say this was a family movie too, in some aspects, the families that are okay with taking their kids to PG-13 movies. So every card in this, I can just see how transparent it is, but it worked. It made $235 million, and it annoys me. This movie just bothers me greatly.
Do you feel condescended to with the
yes
the cheapness of its manipulation?
Talked down to from it. Now I know how you feel watching Family Stone. Even though I do quote Hip Hop Anonymous, and I'm probably going to use in the future that line of, "Are you more comfortable with that analogy?" And yeah, I mean, there's stuff in it that is obviously memorable and I laugh at. The answering machine joke is incredible. That's like why, like that. When I log my Letterboxd review, I'm going to say this 1 star is solely for the answering machine gag.
Oh, Leslie Mann gets the funniest line of the movie for me when she walks in on Sandler and Joey Lauren Adams kissing for the first time.
Oh my God. Gross. Did I just witness the first kiss?
She's so grossed out. That made me laugh. I was trying to figure out, I guess I don't have a problem with the manipulation. I think it's so transparent that it's almost like, how could I get, it's not like they're trying to hide it from me, They're very, very obvious about the formula they're following. It's like, hey, remember, Adam Sandler from all these movies? Okay, but now we're going to pair him up with this cute little kid and he's going to do little kid things and he's going to show you, what happens when Adam Sandler interacts with a kid in a positive way. And so that's why I told you in Contrarians Corner, I was like, I'm not surprised that it made a lot of money. I mean, I think it could have gone horribly wrong if they didn't have a good rapport, right? But Sandler, I know, man, maybe it actually helped him, that the baggage helped him, because I was a little surprised, I guess, by how good he was with the kid. Not necessarily as far as like the story goes, because I mean, obviously part of the joke is he's a terrible parent, but the way that he interacted with the kid, like I guess I was looking at it from the filmmaking point of view. I'm like, man, he knows how to get the best out of this kid, like in performance wise, right? I think, I don't know, I could just be headcanoning this thing, I don't know, maybe Sandler reacted to whatever the kid was doing and that's it, right? But when I was watching, I was like, man, that seems like a pretty careful performance, giving Sandler the benefit of the doubt and assuming that he's caring about what the experience is like for this kid on this set. I don't know. It seems like they were having a good time, and they were funny enough that I didn't mind it. To use your word, Alex, what I hate is the third act of the movie. That is when I completely turned. I was having an okay time. I was laughing. I was like, "This is not Mr. Deeds," but I was like, "Why is Alex so angry?" And then they go to court, and man, I don't remember if it was Ebert or Siskel. It might have been Ebert. It has to have been Ebert because I remember reading it, not hearing it. I don't know which review it was, where he basically said that, a movie's in trouble when they base their third act in a courtroom. Like, that is just like the last desperate act of a screenplay that doesn't know where to go. They go to trial, and man, this movie is like the best example of that little bit of wisdom from Roger Ebert, because it what the fuck happens to this movie? It stops being funny. I don't think it's funny at all, except for maybe like the Jon Stewart moment, which is just because I like Jon Stewart so much that I could get past all the bullshit and just appreciate the delivery of what he's doing there. But
there's kind of the laugh of Sandler revealing the McDonald's bag to Steve Buscemi and like his face lights up.
It's not funny.
No. That has the possibility of being funny, but then it immediately goes into a timestamp joke that is not like relevant at all anymore, because he goes like, OJ got away with murder, something like that. So it's anyway. Yeah,
I already forgotten about that part. My recollection of the third act of this movie is like clouded by rage because it really made me angry.
You haven't even brought up the part yet that he makes Joey Lauren Adams quit her job.
I mean, that is part of it. That's the build up to it. I guess what I was going to say is that I did not have a problem with the way that this movie is divorced from reality. I guess is what you were saying, right? It was making me laugh, so I didn't care. I was like, oh, sure. If this is how he adopts a kid, this is how he adopts a kid. That's just like the reality of the movie. But then I guess I'm trying to figure out if it's just that the movie takes a step too far and everything that happens from the moment that they take the kid away from Sandler is just not even close to being in the same universe that we live in, right? It's just not, there's no care for trying to make things believable. It just feels like everything that happens in the last 20 minutes or so of the movie.
It's everything I've been saying so far, but it really came to a head for you in the last 20 minutes.
Yes, because it's just so, I think, well, here's another thing, another bit of wisdom, not from Roger Ebert, but from, I guess, screenwriters all over history, right? Like when things happen that make things worse for your protagonist, you're more likely to buy them because it's not convenient. It might be convenient for the people, for whoever's writing it, but in the story, it's not convenient. And so the system failing in a way that, yes, it benefits Sandler because it allows him to keep the kid, but we know that at some point that's going to come to a head, right? So we know that the system failing to spot that Sandler is not the real dad is just building up to Sandler losing the kid eventually. So that, I think that maybe that has something to do with it. But everything that happens in the trial when they're in that courtroom is just complete bullshit just for the sake of getting to a happy ending. And I think that has something to do with it. I also don't find it funny, which, if it was ridiculous but funny, maybe I'll be a little more into it. But I can't think of anything that made me laugh, They just try so hard. They put Buscemi on the stand. They put the old guy from the bar on the stand. Leslie Mann is on the stand, not to make a joke, but then they make a joke about Hooters at the very end. It doesn't work. And that absolutely ruins the movie for me. Those last 20 minutes are like the last, 10 minutes of the Black Christmas remake.
Sick reference.
But, on a nuclear level, because that just kind of knocked off a star of the rating for me on Black Christmas. But this is just
kills it.
It kills it. Whereas I would have told you it's a really cheesy, very manipulative movie that made me laugh. Now I'm just thinking, it's just a movie that absolutely blows it in the third act. And so my memory is like, no, I would not recommend it. It sucks so badly at the end that it's not worth it, because there's nothing that I could tell you is worth sitting through.
To get there.
I mean, maybe seeing Jon Stewart in a movie, because there's not that many of those. It's like this and Death to Smooshy, maybe.
There was a girl.
Oh, God.
I'm an idiot. I was so hammered. Chicken wings and Molson 3-0. Canadian beer's like moonshine.
So my biggest question was coming into this was always, as it is with you, Julio, the kid actor. It sounds like none of your problems with this movie were really him or the pair.
No, he's not precocious though. I think that's a big thing, right? I can't. He's just a kid.
Oh, that's right. I forget we have to separate it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And they don't he's not a try-hard kid. I mean, unless I'm being extremely generous for whatever reason, I can't think of instances where he was, doing the antics. Everything that he does is kind of, maybe he just pales in comparison to Sandler. Sandler is so big that whatever the kid does doesn't feel cringe. Like I wasn't getting a trash corner. I think the stuff with the bit with the glasses is pretty cute. I mean, he would make me laugh from time to time. He's fine.
Yeah.
Did you like the kid, or were you?
I was ambivalent.
Okay.
Wasn't bad. I think, obviously, my biggest issues with this movie stem from its screenplay. Because Sandler is actually, for what the movie needs of him, he's pretty good in it. And, we know now that Adam Sandler's quite a good actor. It's just the tone it's not inconsistent. It's just kind of absurd. And I guess you could make the argument that's where he kind of thrives in situations like that. So he does good. And the kid's fine, especially for how young he is. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man.
I don't remember when he made me laugh. I think maybe when the first time Sandler takes him to that sports bar, the waitress asks the kid, he's by himself at the table, and the waitress goes like, "What are you doing here?" And then he says something like, "I'm watching some damn football," or...
He said, "I'm watching football," and she's like, "Who are you cheering for?" He says, "The goddamn Jets."
Yes.
Yeah.
Such a simple joke, but it got me.
Oh, okay. Scuba Steve. I didn't want to forget this. So in like 2000 and 2001, before we moved to Texas and we're still in Ohio, there was this car stereo place called Car Stereo 1. Who knows if it's still fucking in existence? It is. Toledo, Ohio. Car Stereo 1. They had all these ads, and the guy who owned it was a guy named Steve. And, we're not talking about like a global chain here. So your local ads can steal shit, and, fucking Adam Sandler's not going to take notice of it. Is this who put this movie out? This was a Universal? Columbia. So, they're not going to really notice what's going on. It was produced by Columbia. It was distributed by Sony. So in commercials on TV and like on the radio, he would say, "Hey, it's Scuba Steve, and I'm coming up to the surface for, my deal of the week," or, that type of shit.
God, shameless.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he had like a scuba suit on and stuff. And it was a mix because he would also end all his commercials by going "turtle." Like by stealing, the Dana Carvey Master of Disguise thing. And my dad hated these commercials. My dad he would be driven insane to the point, like if we were on the way to school and was listening to the radio, it came on, he would change the station or like turn the channel if those came on the TV. And 01, it was either 2000 or 01, a local independent wrestling show ran out of the parking lot of a Car Stereo 1, and I feel like we won tickets like on the radio or something to go see it. So my dad took me there, and like this thing they did at intermission, when you went in, they had you like sign a card with your name and like where you were from on it for like a raffle. And the raffle turned out to be at intermission. Steve, the Steve, came out in his scuba suit, and he was covered in cash, and you got to get in the ring, and for 30 seconds, you got to chase Steve around and rip all the money you could off of him.
Oh, God, please tell me this story is leading to your dad wrestling Steve.
So at intermission, and I remember this so vividly, I was 13 or 14, and me and my dad are just sitting on like a fucking parking median or something, and the guy's up there, and he's pulling the names out, and I just remember my dad saying to me, he's like, I don't even know if I'd get in there if they called my name. And the guy goes, he's the wrestling ring announcer, and he starts reading off. He's like, "From Lucas County, Mean Tom Mattis." And then he called my dad's name, and my dad like didn't react. He just slowly kind of looked over at me, and I looked at him. I was like, "Go get the money." And I knew my dad hated this guy, so like, I just remember watching my dad get in the ring, and the Steve guy goes, "Tom is a pussy." He said that as my dad was getting in the ring, and like they rang the bell, and like the look in my dad's eyes, I thought he was going to shoot on him. I thought he was going to take him down, and have his way. I think my dad ended up getting like $85 or something. It was like the joke was he bought like, I think we got like Pizza Hut for dinner because whenever we got pizza as a family back then, we weren't like, I don't want to give the implication we were poor, but like we would get like the whatever, like Little Caesars and stuff. So my dad's like, all right, well, we'll get like something, a step up for dinner. And so we got like something nice and we came home and my mom's like, what's the special occasion or something? And it was like, Dad wrestled Scuba Steve.
Did your dad pin him?
He just like ran in circles and my dad was just reaching, grabbing money off of him and stuff like that. So, in hindsight, I'm glad my dad didn't like tear his hamstring or something, but it was, that is the endearing legacy of Big Daddy. Very tangentially, but that's always what I'm going to think of.
Oh man. That story is better than anything that happens in Big Daddy.
Good night, Scuba Steve.
Just kind of back to it all. It's a movie that is certainly now has its place. And even then, it was immediately penetrative of pop culture. Now it's recognizable, and as sad as it makes me, Julio, Gen Z, and the folks younger than us probably view this as like, oh, it's a classic movie. You know what I mean? Like it's an old movie. And
I mean, everybody has their classic Sandler, I guess. That's right.
Yeah.
When you've been doing it for so long.
That hurts to think like that, though.
Some people, their first Sandler movie was Punch Drunk Love.
Can you imagine some like kids buying tickets to that thinking it was going to be fun? That happened to me with the screening of Stranger Than Fiction that I went to. People bought it thinking it was going to be this funny Will Ferrell movie, and then like these kids like walked out halfway through.
There you go. Will Ferrell is another one that did that. He didn't stick with the let's do some serious movies every now and then.
Will Ferrell has, in my book, has way more hits than Sandler does.
Yes, but what I mean is that Strangers Than Fiction, maybe a couple others.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Like he did that thing, and there wasn't backlash from what I remember. I mean, I'm sure there were some people that were disappointed or confused, but I think it did well with critics. I don't know if it made money.
He's had several. Stranger Than Fiction, Winter Passing. God, that movie's depressing. And then what was the other one? I still have never seen, but Everything Must Go. People are always really complimentary about that movie.
Yes, I haven't seen it. I remember we had it in our theater for like a week. Like, this movie must go.
But very similarly, his serious stuff does not call out to his audience at large, much like Sandler. With the success of Uncut Gems, do you think that's more of just word of mouth than anything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What is the market for serious Adam Sandler? Is it like people like you that grew up with his early movies, but are ready for him to do something else? And so you welcome, you don't resent him for doing something else, right?
See, I think there's a difference between something like Punch Drunk Love and Uncut Gems. I think Punch Drunk Love is exactly what you're referring to, of like the novelty of Adam Sandler. Because honestly, he is trying something so vastly different than anything else he had done in his career up until that point in Punch Drunk Love. You know what I mean?
But he's still very recognizable Sandler.
Yes. Uncut Gems, there are still moments of, and that movie more exists just on chaos. And I said the success of it, and a lot of that's in my head, because that movie on a $20 million budget made $50 million, which I would like $50 million. But, comparatively speaking to the fucking 250 we're talking about here. But that's a movie that I think definitely had a new life when it went to like streaming, and because it seems like even to this day people are still discovering that movie.
I guess if you're asking me if I think that there's a crossover between the audiences that watch Adam Sandler movies on Netflix, like the ones that he's been putting out for the last few years, and the people that will go see Uncut Gems, I don't see it. I mean, that's not to say, of course, there are people that can watch both. I probably watch both, right? But I don't think that that's part of the marketing strategy. I think that when you make a movie like Uncut Gems, you're not thinking, and we're going to get all those Happy Madison fans. But I also don't know how you sell it. Like, what is the selling point? What the novelty of Adam Sandler being in that type of movie, is that really when you're making, when you're talking to people that put up the money, like, is that something that you do? Like, I mean, it could just be that he's Adam Sandler, so he can do whatever he wants, and therefore wills this kind of stuff into happening.
Mm-hmm.
You said PTA. Were you kidding about PTA liking Big Daddy?
That's something that's listed, and that's something he's always famously talked about. Was he wanted to work with Adam Sandler because he found his comedies to be so funny.
Okay, so that explains Punch Drunk Love. I mean, maybe the Safdies have a similar backstory, right? They like Adam Sandler. They've seen the darkness that he can bring to his comedies and to his serious roles. So they're like, fuck it, this is a movie for Adam Sandler. And then they make it happen.
God, he's so good in that movie.
But as the germ of an idea, I don't think that the normal like studio person, I don't think that they start there, right? They don't start with like...
Yeah, I think it's been proven there is no crossover. The people who went and saw Big Daddy did not go see Punch Drunk Love.
Who went to see Punch Drunk Love?
Maya Rudolph.
I don't even know if they were dating at that time, Alex.
You like Punch Drunk Love, though, don't you?
I love it. It's in it might be my top 3 PTAs.
Damn. Okay. I don't like it that much. Yeah, and that movie lost money. It is a good one, though.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is quite fantastic. As is Luis Guzman. Is this your pudding, Barry? All right. I mentioned its penetration into pop culture. People in our age range, you will find, likely have some source of reference or some line from this that they call to, that they hearken to in moments of need. But there's no quicker example of the immediate penetrative effects than its nominations at the 2000 MTV Movie Awards, which we recently discussed in our Matrix episode as The Matrix cleaned house.
The two faces of 1999.
So what did Big Daddy, what did Shirley Crabtree do at the MTV Movie Awards in 2000? Best male performance, Adam Sandler was nominated alongside Bruce Willis for The Sixth Sense, Ryan Phillippe for Cruel Intentions, Jim Carrey for Man on the Moon. We're talking earlier about his go at being a real actor. And they all lost out to Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. Best on-screen duo of Adam Sandler, along with Dylan/Cole Sprouse for Big Daddy, were nominated alongside Keanu and Lawrence Fishburne, Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment, and Tom Hanks and Tim Allen for Toy Story 2. All 4 of those tandems losing out to Mike Myers and Vern Troyer for The Spy Who Shagged Me. Were they still doing Most Desirable Female? No, they had grown up by that point. So, because I was going to say Heather Graham in that movie.
They were taking cues from Sandler. Like, yeah, maybe it's time to calm down.
It's time to evolve. Yeah. The one lone bucket of golden popcorn that went home for Big Daddy that night was in the category of Best Comedic Performance, as Adam Sandler won, beating out Ice Cube for Next Friday, Mike Myers for Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, Jason Biggs for American Pie, and okay, we're gonna have to reassess this award all these years later. Parker Posey for Scream 3. Scream 3 is fucking ass, but Parker Posey is so good in that movie. She is so funny. Oh man, she is great.
Not to plug our Patreon again, but there is a bit of a discussion about Scream 3 when I finally watched it. Late last year, earlier this year, I don't remember. But
if I remember correctly, you were also complimentary of Parker Posey.
Yes, yeah, she usually is pretty good, no matter what, and she's one of the highlights of Scream 3. But I don't know that I would have her. Would you give her the bucket of popcorn out of that lineup?
Dude, talk about something that's been quoted to death. Austin Powers, but those first 2 Austin Powers movies are fucking funny, dude. So out of that lineup, I might have given it to Mike Myers.
The little kids in the movie, Cole and Dylan, they played they're twins, and they played the little boy in the movie. And they're great kids, and they're here tonight. But I'll tell you, they said to me, if this movie goes well and you win an award, can we write the speech for you? And I said yes. And so I got the speech, and I hope it's good. And thanks for the honor, and here we go.
Okay, so that was on the positive side of things. Again, we talked about a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, and not a movie that was beloved, you would say, by all at that point in time. Has had its fair share of nominations at the 20th installment of the Golden Raspberry Awards on March 25th of 2000. But immediately loses credibility when you see that it's nominated for Worst Picture alongside the Blair Witch Project.
What?
I try to put myself in the mind. I didn't see the Blair Witch Project until like 2002, 3 for the first time, and it terrified me. But I try to put myself in the mindset of people at that time. Like, think about us, Julio, and the crowd we run with. Trying to think of, like, you know, we were all the ages we are now when that movie came out, or like back when we all worked together.
Oh God, old, jaded.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the person that would have gotten so mad at how much Brandon Curtis would have found a reason to hate that movie, because it was like, you know, he would say something about, you know, if these people, you know, all these fucking morons going to see it should just pick up a camera and make a movie for themselves or something like that, you know. So I try to always remind myself that for the kind of sensation that movie became in the moment there, yeah, there had to be people that were annoyed that that it was so famous. And then I would be there. Well, it's a deconstruction. You know, I'd have my whole argument ready. So, but it's just funny because now
I am terrified now of being that person today about a movie that is someone else's Blair Witch Project. In fact, I know I already am.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been that to each other numerous times on here. All right, so Big Daddy was nominated for Worst Picture alongside the aforementioned Blair Witch Project, The Haunting, and The Phantom Menace, all losing out to Wild Wild West. Adam Sandler won for Worst Actor, beating out Kevin Costner for In the Love of the Game and Message in a Bottle. Kevin Kline for Wild Wild West, Arnold Schwarzenegger for The End of Days as Jericho Kane.
Hey.
He did The End of Days, right?
Yeah. I think it's
Yes.
End of Days. Just drop the.
The End of Days. That was Baron Corbin's finishing move. Yeah, I got that confused. Was it The Sixth Day? Was that another Schwarzenegger movie from that? Yeah, okay. End of Days. There were some good effects. That was that a Ben Murray?
That was Ben Murray.
Yeah.
Early patron pick.
Yeah, that might have been one of the first. And then Robin Williams for Bicentennial Man and Jacob the Liar. Worst Supporting Actor. Rob Schneider was nominated for Nazo, Big Daddy.
Does he just have a season pass at the Golden Raspberry
Probably.
Awards?
He was nominated alongside Gabriel Byrne for End of Days. Kenneth Branagh for Wild Wild West. Oh, poor Jake Lloyd for Star Wars Episode 1. They all lost out, though, to Ahmed Best, who voiced Jar Jar Binks.
Nah.
Low-hanging fruit, my friend.
Yeah. And I think that the way, like we've as a society, we've kind of come around and maybe apologized to Ahmed Best and Jake Lloyd for being a little too harsh on them back then. I don't foresee anybody apologizing to Rob Schneider for this nomination.
Worst Director, Dennis Dugan for Big Daddy, alongside Peter Hymas for End of Days, George Lucas for Phantom Menace, Jan de Bont for The Haunting, losing out to Barry Sonnenfeld for Wild Wild West. And I think you can sense where this is going. Big Daddy got nominated for Worst Screenplay alongside The Haunting, The Mod Squad, and The Phantom Menace, losing out to Wild Wild West. So, had its fair share of haters, but it doesn't matter. Made a lot of money, and it's a movie that people still talk about to this day. You know, we've covered kind of the whole spectrum of things in this, and it's so kind of simplified to say, but, you know, my immediate thing was, well, if you've seen an Adam Sandler movie in the past 25 years, you know, you kind of know what you're in for. Adam Sandler comedy. In a complimentary sense, what I'm going to close on is that when I found myself in times of trouble, when I found myself annoyed or just like seething at the absurdity of what I was watching and like the annoyance of the like characters, the score would kick in. Music was by a gentleman named Teddy Castellucci, and the score immediately took me to a different time. There's a whimsy about this movie that reminded me of a time when we still made movies the way I like movies to be made. This movie is free of cynicism. The Click is a good example, and Grown Ups. Those are really the only ones I've seen after this of Sandler comedies. There is, I find, an inherent cynicism in those movies that could just be my interpretation, but I do find something cynical about the way those movies are put together and made, and the way that, I'm doing air quotes now, the jokes are presented. I watch Big Daddy. Not all the jokes work for me. I find the story stupid, but it's a movie that is made by a professional studio with a level of care and treatment that we do not really get anymore. hardly ever. And it's shot on location. That shot of Jon Stewart and Adam Sandler walking through what I believe is Central Park there at the end, like it's a well-framed shot. The lighting's good. Like, you know, it's all the stuff I bitch about modern movies is not here. And so that part of it made this a pleasant viewing experience to an extent. So it kind of complicated initially when I wanted to come in here and be like, F, half star, sucks. And I would be doing a disservice to my integrity if I said I didn't laugh at all throughout this. I did laugh at a few parts. So I guess that the way I'd want to end, and a positive thing I wanted to say is, in a post-Wedding Singer Adam Sandler filmography, if someone was like, what's the comedy I should watch? I'd probably just tell them this, because anything I've seen since has been awful.
Over Mr. Deeds? I thought that we'd turn a corner, man.
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting Mr. Deeds came after this. I would say either this or Mr. Deeds. How about that? I would say Mr. Deeds has John Turturro and Winona Ryder, so you probably got a leg up in that situation.
Have you seen Anger Management? Because I haven't, but
no,
I remember seeing the trailer.
I fear that movie would depress me significantly.
Speaking of stunt casting, I mean, Sandler versus Jack. Come on, irresistible. If you have the courage to go there, I don't.
Ah, here we go. The magic of Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim's West Side Story.
So I think did that come across at least like I was trying to put a positive button on this, Julio?
Yes. I've heard you be angrier and more disheartened about other movies, even about this movie earlier in this recording. So it's an uptick. I get it. And I think like it is one of those instances where you have a stronger connection to some elements of the movie, in this case to Sandler. It might be a little more disappointing. It might hit you a little harder just to see something that in theory should work better than it does for you. Right? So yeah, I don't have the problem because I am not an Adam Sandler guy in that sense.
I'm not a nerd.
No, I just, I didn't grow up with him. So that part of it, there's no nostalgia attached to whenever I watch an Adam Sandler movie. It's just an Adam Sandler movie, and I already know going in that there's a lot of it that's potentially not going to be for me. And so that maybe gives Big Daddy a leg up at the beginning. And just like you, I'm not gonna, the ending gets like half a star, maybe even no stars, like that last sequence. But I did laugh, fairly frequently when I was watching it. And I think that most of the cast is doing really well. Like they feel like they're playful with each other in a way that doesn't feel lazy. Like some of the latter stuff that Sandler has done with comedies, we always talk about like it's just him hanging out with his friends, and that sometimes translates on the screen as like, man, they're not even trying. They just had a couple beers and then they made a few fart jokes, and right. And this doesn't feel like that. It feels like they're still like they're caring about timing and trying to set up a punchline somehow and that kind of stuff. So maybe that goes hand in hand with the cynicism that you were talking about, right? At some point when you realize that you really have to try that hard.
This movie still feels like a screenplay was written, not a bunch of people got together and just started jacking off.
Even the manipulation, right? Transparent as it may be, it requires a modicum of planning.
Yeah.
So, I do have to give the movie props for that. And ultimately, like I said, I laughed a few times. That I wasn't kidding about the Leslie Mann line. I thought it was great. I was like, man, it's a shame that I don't witness first kisses often because I would use that line all the time. and the kid, he's funny. Him and Sandler actually. Here's my thing with Big Daddy. I didn't watch it when it came out, but I knew of its reputation, or at least in my mind, his reputation was that it was one of the good Adam Sandler movies, and that it was some people would even say like it's the good one, right? It was like The Wedding Singer and then Big Daddy.
Yeah.
And I even had an idea that it was just because it was sentimental in a way that worked. I guess for the people that love the movie, it was like, he's funny, but then it's also very heartfelt, and that part not so much. I mean, it's really the when it gets really, from the moment that they separate him from the kid, it's just cloying and not funny. But still, so it didn't live up to the reputation in a way, but also didn't live to that positive reputation. It didn't quite live up to the reputation you had set up for me, because you already told me how much you hated it. So I'm like, it's probably got to be somewhere in between. And that's kind of what it was until it went off the rails at the end. So I guess, I'm going to say 2 stars. That seems fair. 2 stars for all the stuff that worked. And then the stuff that doesn't work is just fucking awful.
Yeah, I didn't give my final review there, but it's a D. If I'm feeling generous when I log this, it'll get 1.5 stars.
And you'll make the point of saying that it's just for Christy Swanson?
The answering machine joke.
And the answering machine joke. Man, this is it. Is it a whimper, Alex? Did we end on a whimper? I think we ended on a spirited discussion about...
We had a good discussion.
Yeah. About an actor that... I'm not going to say he reinvented himself in the 2000s or even, When is Punch Drunk Love? Is it 99 too?
02.
02, yeah. Not that. But, he kind of went... I don't know if this is a turning point, but it is, I think, a lead up to it. And much like with The Matrix, we said it ushered a different era for filmmaking. This maybe started to usher a different era for Sandler. Just
here's what I'll say about what Adam Sandler accomplished in the 26 years since this movie is that at this point in his career, he was kind of shunned by the purists and just like, that guy, the Jim Carrey thing we've talked about before.
Right.
In the 26 years since, Adam Sandler has cultivated this ability to still make all these dumb fucking comedies that people will lap up and he makes money off of. But people like me don't see him. And, like the film community at large don't watch him. But they still like Adam Sandler. So when he'll do stuff like Punch Drunk Love, or specifically, to more recent times, Uncut Gems, he gets like widely heralded and celebrated, like these award shows and shit. So he arguably has figured it out more than anybody.
Even more so than Rob Zombie.
Even more so than old Roberto. He's figured out a way to do exactly what he wants to do and then still find ways to get celebrated as an artiste. God bless him, man.
He can show up at the Oscars dressed in like sweats.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a bona fide A-lister. At this point in time, I think if you had asked any of the fucking tastemakers or, the Hollywood purists, like I said, it's just, he's a flash in the pan, or this is going to be all he can do. And he still does that, but he's also done things since then that people are like, yeah, best actor, throw him in there. So a hell of a run from one Adam Sandler, and no small part to his story plays Big Daddy. So there, not a whimper.
Not a whimper. And just a very interesting, maybe not a bang, but, something in between. Mm-hmm. It is not over for us, for patrons, because we have one more thing. There's no after hours for Big Daddy because that time is allotted for the next FIRF installment number 3. It's the movie In America, but immigrants coming to America. So check out our main feed for that. That's coming up at some point. But Alex, we still have some MTV related business because we haven't decided which MTV Movie Awards ceremony we're going to do a commentary on.
Yeah.
That's for patrons only. But
yeah, we need to figure that out. I think you and I just need to do our own research and see which ones we think will fit best.
Yeah, I found a playlist on YouTube that had most of them. And through whatever research I've done, I think that the first one is not available anywhere. At least not anywhere that I'm willing to go. Maybe if you dig in the dark web, you might be able to find something. But that still leaves us with plenty of options. So I guess patrons, keep an eye out. Whenever it's ready, we're gonna let you know, and we'll just watch whatever's happening on the screen, commercials included, probably. After that, Alex, we're done with the 90s. We're done with the summer event. What better way to jump back into the regular Contrarians business than by tackling a beloved classic? Do you remember what starts the month of September for us?
I do, because I was lining it up for my viewing today. It's a big one.
There is a man arrived in Casablanca on his way to America. Victor Laszlo.
Laszlo? The Nazis have been chasing him all over Europe.
I am very excited. Well, for one, I haven't seen the movie in a long time. But also, I mentioned it to Kelly, my wife, and she actually wants to watch it with me. She's never seen it before.
Oh, baby.
I know. So tomorrow, after work, my wife and I are sitting down and watching Casablanca. And I don't know, man. It might affect how I experience the movie. if she's not having a good time. She is a big history buff, and I think that maybe that's what interested her about Casablanca, because, it has some historical elements. And so if she starts criticizing historical inaccuracies, I might bring that baggage with me to the recording, but hopefully not. But anyway, Casablanca, super fresh. You probably knew that. We're going to be negative about it, at least in Contrarians Corner. So that should be a lot of fun.
Can't wait.
It's on Max for anybody that wants to rewatch it before listening to the episode. And then for patrons, well, by the time you listen to this, we might have the bonus episode out for Who Killed Captain Alex. Alex, you're not the captain, but
no.
The movie's like 60 minutes, I think. And so it's a short one from patron Ryan. And Ryan has he's recommended that we check out the commentary that's also on YouTube for this movie. Like the movie and its commentary he says that the commentary is pretty interesting. So I figure, if it's 60 minutes, maybe we can do it. So let's plan on that. As far as video reviews, this month we have Doctor Strangelove as a dual QVR. Alex and I are going to be tackling one of Kubrick's beloved movies. Man, from what I remember watching it, we could have included this on the lineup for FURF, but instead we'll do a quick video review together. And then, like I said, no after hours this time. Instead, watch In America if you haven't. That's it, Alex. You ready to go? Ready to say goodbye to our celebration, our summer-long celebration of the 90s?
Man, it's been a fucking hoot.
It has flown by. It feels like we just started, honestly.
It does.
That's all right. We will revisit some of this come the Embries in October. So don't worry. There's more 90s goodness coming your way. That's it. Let's get out of here.
Let's do. Welcome to our end credits.
Or as we usually call them, our perennial plugs.
We start off by giving thanks to the Festive Years who provide our opening and closing tracks. They kick us off with Last Stand and take us home with Summer of 99. Be sure to head over to thefestiveyears.com for any and all Festive Years needs.
Our friend and fellow podcaster Hans Rothgieser is the man behind our logo and all the art you see related to our show. Reach out to him and let him know how much you like that little tomato. His email address is mildemonios@hotmail.com and his website is mildemonios.pe. That's MILDEMONIOS. Hans, thank you for all your support.
For those interested in the regularly absurd world of professional wrestling, Joe and the boys over at latenightgrin.com have you covered. Tell them the Contrarians sent you.
And we like to close with special thanks to our social media team of Zoe Perez and Coriari. Each of the social media accounts we mentioned in the introduction look as good as they do because of their work.
So that'll do it for this episode of The Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong, and we will catch you next time.
Just for old time's sake, I really don't care who you see and how much money he makes a year.